Shabbat has a special name to it. Anybody know what it's called? It's called, you know what the name of today's Shabbat is? The Shabbat before Passover is always called Shabbat HaGadol, which means, you remember Gadol, it's one of the dreidel words. We always get excited when we get dreidel words, when we do the dreidel letters and we get dreidel words. Gadol means big. Like when you say a big miracle was there, or a great miracle was there. Nes Gadol Haya Sham, when a great miracle was there. So Gadol is big. It's in one of our prayers that we say also. We say, Ha'el HaGadol. We say the great and mighty and awesome God, God supreme. So HaGadol, you're going to hear it a couple times. But today is called Shabbat HaGadol. They call the Shabbat before Passover the big Shabbat. And normally the rabbi, so in traditional times, olden times, the rabbi would only do big sermons, and maybe even any sermon, twice a year. And this is one of them. And they were long. And today's sermon, according to tradition, I should be teaching you everything you need to know about the Seder for tomorrow so you don't mess up, and everything about Passover so you don't mess up, because there's a zero tolerance policy for messing up on Passover things. Not everything, but for kashrut, for keeping kosher, if a little bit of dairy gets into your meat, or a little bit of meat gets onto your dairy, it's not terrible as long as the whole, it's so that it's less than 1/60th of the whole, then you're okay. If it's more than 1/60th, it's not allowed. But with chametz, you can't have like 1/60th. You can't have 1 grain of wheat in your anything, in your possession, anything. So last year, we came up with what I like to call the brows method. So if you're thinking about Passover, I want you to do this. Stroke your brows. Thank you. Some people are doing it. Stroke your brows. And you remember those 5 letters. The BROWS. Barley, rye, oats, wheat, and spelt. Those are the 5 grains you're not allowed to have during Pesach. So rice is a tricky thing. That's not in there. But the Ashkenazic Jews used to store their rice with those 5 grains. And so by association, they became chametz. But because there might be 1 little grain of wheat in the rice if they were stored together, and then it would not be kosher. So as long as you keep your kitniot separate, the conservative movement a few years ago decided that kitniot are allowed. And in most Sephardic Jews, kitniot are allowed. The legumes, they call them in English. Believe it or not, that's the English word for them. And in Italian Jews eat the rice. I mean, I've told you this story almost every single year because it still freaks me out that I got great-grandma's Passover dishes. I remember having cottage cheese and raisins at breakfast with great-grandma, Zichrona Levracha, during Pesach, and I got her gorgeous, glass bubble dishes, and then a set of china for the meat stuff. That was the dairy, but there's a set of china for the meat too, and I got those. And then I got married to Ricky, and I'm supposed to put rice on great-grandma's dishes, and I felt like I was poisoning her dishes if I put rice on them, and I felt like I could never invite anybody over because everybody I know wouldn't eat rice for Passover. And then you go to the cabinet and you want to take out the chametz. And normally, I'm taking all the peas out and anything with peas, and I'm taking all of the corn out or anything with corn, and I'm taking all that out. Now, everything stays in the closet. It's depressing to not clean out your closet. It was so sad. But I've gotten used to it, and I'm good. And Max takes care of it for me now, so I don't have to cry every time it happens. But so, I don't know, whatever you want to do. It was actually kind of funny. Not funny, but Rabbi Robinson, I remember Amy Morris used to say, my favorite breakfast every day was peanut butter on matzah. And guess what Rabbi Robinson said? He said, you're not allowed to have peanut butter. Like, she was our oldest congregant, and you can't have peanut butter on matzah. Of course she can. She did. Whatever her family background was, let her have peanut. She was having matzah. She wasn't not keeping Passover. We can have peanuts on Passover in my family, so it's kitniot, it's legumes. So, all right, next trivia question. You read an article about about kitniot. Yeah. Yeah, so that's another thing. So a lot of, if you want to, people have to hear you.
The protein for vegetarians is beans, and beans are economical. And during Passover, it makes sense that they could purchase that. So
I know. Imagine how much fun it was because my son's vegan. If he couldn't have the legumes and stuff, it would be tough. I mean, people do it. We had vegetarians in our family before we were allowed to eat rice, and I don't know if they do or not. But that's a really good point, that they are protein and they take the place of the meat. Vegans can't have the dairy. I mean, it's crazy. You use cashews instead for the cheese and things like that. So that is all true. So there was a saying I saw this week from the Bostoner Rebbitzin. The Bostoner Rebbitzin, that means the Orthodox rabbi's wife from Boston. And she said, don't get so sameach for Purim. You know what sameach is? Happy. Don't get so sameach for Purim that Purim isn't kosher. And don't get so crazy about kosher for Passover that Passover isn't sameach, that it's not happy. Like you go crazy if you try to clean every single nook and cranny and you try to keep every single detail and you do all of that thing, but you still try. I mean, it's an awesome thing to do, and it's a very cool thing. It is truly awesome to be living the freedom experience. It's really awesome, and that's what we're doing. It's part of the reason why we're Shabbat HaGadol. So I'm going to ask you a couple more trivia questions. I don't want to do the trivia in the middle of services. So how many days do you keep Passover? How many people do 7? How many people do 8? You know, in the same house. That's always fun. And so when I was growing up, we always kept 8. Even when we were Reformed Jews, we always kept 8. All of the Reformed congregations where I lived kept 8 days. This doesn't. I learned not to because my ex kept the 7 days. And our motto is, if it's good enough for Torah, it's good enough for us. That's our motto. So we keep 7 days. If you keep 8 days, that is tradition. It's been tradition for hundreds and hundreds of years in some communities outside of Israel. So you have 8 days. That means that the first day is a holy day. No manner of work shall you do. And that means you make 2 first days, the first and second days. No work, first and second days. So this year, the first day is Sunday. Our service is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. The second day is Monday. So don't go to work if you keep 8 days. And try to find a minyan. Good luck with it. No, actually, the other shul sometimes does have a minyan for the second day. I used to go to services the second day all the time when I was still keeping that. But and then at the end, the 7th day is the Yom Tov. This year it falls on Shabbat. So next week on the last day, I can't believe we're already talking the last day of Passover, and Passover hasn't even started yet. But next week on the last day of Passover, we have our Torah study is Song of Songs. That's a good commercial, right? And then at 11 o'clock, we have a service that will include Yizkor, because the last day of there are 4 times a year we have a Yizkor service, which means a memorial service. If you have lost any immediate relatives, or if there are other people that you want to remember, like the people who died in the Shoah, or now we have a modern, if someone died on October 7th, and you want to honor their memory, then you would do that during Yizkor services. So that's what Yizkor is about. We will use the memorial books that we made that started using for Yom Kippur, and Yizkor. That's next week. But if you keep 8 days, then you have Yizkor on the 8th day, which is next Sunday, which is why we don't have religious school this week or next week. And okay, that was a trivia question. How many parts to the Seder are there? I know, too many. No, just kidding. Not enough. No, just kidding again. How many parts are there to a Seder? This is a good trivia question. What? Before dinner and after? 5, 6? 14. Try 14. I have 14 plus 1, I like to say. Because I've been putting together the Haggadah every year. You can get our copy online. It's a PDF to download. But there are 14 steps, but we always also start with candle lighting. I mean, if you were home, you would start with candle lighting too. So we start with candle lighting. So tomorrow night, we have a Seder. So what normally happens on Saturday night? Havdalah, where we separate the holy from the everyday, from the regular. So some people say profane, but that sounds like cursing. I don't mean to curse. So holy from the everyday, right? So tomorrow night, we do have to separate Shabbat from the holy from the holy. It literally is a ceremony that has to celebrate, that has to commemorate the separation of the holy, the separation from the holy to the holy. And it's a special kind of Havdalah. Usually Havdalah has a braided candle, it has spices, it has wine. Do we have wine on Passover? Oh yeah, 4 cups, right? Yeah. So the first cup is the cup when we make the day holy, like what we do here. We make the day holy. This one is going to make the day holy, and it's going to also represent the separation. And we're not going to have a braided candle. And usually for what we do say a separation blessing, and usually on Shabbat, it's so cool. At the end of Shabbat, you take the candle, and you take a sip of wine, and then you put the candle out in the wine. It's really cool. We're still doing it now on Saturday nights when it's not a Yom Tov. So we'll pick up again in like 2 weeks. So, all right, so we've got that. That's another cool thing. 14. I have kind of 15 steps, but there are 14 steps for a regular Seder, and one of them is what's called Shulchan Aruch, which is the prepared table when you eat. And then there are a few steps after that, including a couple glasses of wine. So you better stay. I mean, it's fun. All right. That's most of what I wanted to talk about, I think, unless anybody else has any other trivia about Passover that you want to, all right, matzah balls, are they supposed to sink or float? Okay, just checking. That's like the kind of thing that we break out in fisticuffs over, right? We have a secret here about how we do our matzah balls, but sometimes people don't know that that's what we're doing, so I'm going to try to announce it. But you get a soup bowl, and you get a big bowl filled with lots of matzah balls. And you're supposed to put the matzah balls in your plate, and then you've got a carafe, like the kind that might have coffee in it, and you're supposed to put the soup on the bowl, in the bowl and that's how you get the hot soup in the bowl. And it works great. But last year there was at least one whole table. Everybody, I don't know, they thought the matzah balls they ate with ketchup. I don't remember. There's no ketchup. I was kidding. I was just kidding. You should see people going. So they ate their matzah balls without the soup. I don't know what they did about the soup. I guess they thought that it was tea or something. I don't know. And then when I was growing up, we didn't have chopped liver at every Seder. We did not have chopped liver at all at the Seders. But here, chopped liver is so important that sometimes it goes on the table before the Seder plate goes on the table. And last year they were very fancy, and they put the chopped liver on a plop on the plate, but in like a bundt cake mold. And so everybody thought it was dessert. They were waiting. They thought it was a cake, and they were waiting till the end to eat it, and it was chopped liver. That's like the first time I tried caviar. I thought it was a little petit four, and it was not. I never went back to that again. But so they tried the chopped liver and thought it was a dessert. It is not. There's more trivia for you, I guess, eventually. Some people have an extra chair at the table for Elijah and a cup of wine. That some people have the cup of wine that disappears a little bit overnight, and some people think that Dad is drinking it, but I never saw Dad drinking it, and somehow it disappears anyway. Anybody have any other trivia? You have one?
Modern matzah with all the whole modern. Keep it from rising.
So let me tell you, you don't want to start me, because maybe we'll have a really short service today so that I could tell you these things. The sermon's so long that the service has to be short. There was this story, which I used to tell as a joke, and I found out that it was actually, a lot of it was true. Do you remember when there was a time when the Boeing planes were the engines were falling out? You remember that? This was true. And so the story is that it was a Jewish engineer who was the head engineer for that. And he was obviously about to lose his job. I mean, he's struggling all day long. His math, his numbers, he's trying to figure out how do I keep the engine from falling out of the plane. You'd think that, why would it fall out? And he couldn't figure it out, and he'd spend all day, all night working on it. He couldn't sleep. He was, look bedraggled, and he tried and he tried. And finally, he knew he was going to lose his job if he didn't solve this. And he goes and he gets drunk one night, and he says, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my job. They want another report tomorrow. I don't have anything. I don't know what to do. I know when my dad or my grandfather needed help, they would call the rabbi. I'm going to call the rabbi. And it's night. I mean, he's drunk, and he picks up the phone, and he dials the rabbi, and he says, Rabbi, I got to talk to you. And the rabbi says, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He says, I know, but I got to talk to you. Can you come in tomorrow morning at 9? Yes, I'll be there. And he shows up, and now he's totally embarrassed. Like, he was drunk when he called the rabbi. How's the rabbi going to help with an airplane question? And he comes in and he apologizes. Rabbi, I'm so sorry. I disturbed you yesterday, and I've got a question, but I don't see how you're going to be able to help with this. And the rabbi said, well, long white beard kind of a rabbi, well, tell me what your question is, and I'll see what I could do. And so he says, okay, I am the engineer who's responsible for the planes. I don't know if you heard that there are planes that are going up, and the engines are falling out. And I'm supposed to keep the engines from falling out. I can't figure out why. Why are these engines falling out? And the rabbi says, that's a very good question. I'm not sure that I know the answer, and he looks behind him and he sees all of the books on the wall, and he says, I'm sure that the answer is in one of those books. I will come back tomorrow, and I'll have an answer. And the guy says, yeah, okay, thanks, Rabbi. Sure. And he shakes the rabbi's hand, and he comes back the next day, and the rabbi says, I think I have the answer for you. I think I have the solution for you. And the guy says, what? How could you have a solution from the books? He says, yes. He says, I have been a rabbi now for a long time, and I have gone through more than 82 years of Passover Seders. I think that the answer for you is perforations. And he says, perforations? He says, yes, I want that you should put perforations around the engine, and the engine will never fall out. And the guy says, okay, thank you. He's saying that Rabbi's yarmulke is on too tight, and he goes away, and he's still calculating and thinking, and he can't think of anything. So when nobody else is looking that night, he cut some perforations around the engine. He takes the plane up. Engine did not fall out. Tries it again, does some dramatic things, engine doesn't fall out. He doesn't know why it's working, but he pretends he knows, and he writes up some calculations and tries to razzle-dazzle them with some answers. And he goes back to the rabbi, and he gives the rabbi he got a bonus. He gives the rabbi a big chunk of that bonus. And he says, how did you know? He says, well, I said, I've been to Seders for more than 82 years, and not once in all of those 82 years did the matzah break on the perforations. Can we say Aleinu and go now? Is that good enough? Are we good enough? We'll do a short one. There's more. I got a couple of them. It got to the point that my family didn't want to hear me tell the jokes again over and over again. But I like that joke. And then I met a guy. Maybe it wasn't Boeing. Maybe it was the DCs. Was it the DC-10? I think it was a DC-10 and not Boeing. But he worked for the company. And he said he remembers when that happened. And I don't know about the perforations being true, but I can tell you for sure that the perforations in that matzah never make it break the way it's supposed to. All right, we have a couple songs and we have some prayers we want to do. So before we bless the candles even, we're going to welcome the Sabbath bride. Turn please to pages 138 and 139. And my friend Mr. Allen is going, who's got the microphone? I got it back, sorry. Never mind. I was hiding. I'll need it back, but we can put it here. All right, we didn't do a sound test, Mark, so be careful. A little bit higher, maybe. All right, we're going to do verses, we're going to do 1 and the last one. Okay, 1 and 9. 1 is on page 138. The last one is on page 139. We getting sound from the guitar, Max? Okay, now we are. Too much. Okay. We call this one Native American melody. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 1. Shahamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmiyanu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'lihila, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Last verse. Shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Here she comes. Boi chala, lecha dodi lekrat kala, yalala, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Shabbat nekabela. Thank you. All right, at this point, we're going to turn to pages 120 and 121. We're going to bless the candles to welcome Shabbat. I invite our president and the first lady to come up. And we remember the hostages who are still being held captive. But we then take a moment for joy. Page 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
We continue on page 120 with the blessing for the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed art you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. We're continuing on page 123 with the Kiddush. Sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei perei hagafen.
Amen.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai hamakedesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. You are welcome to be seated. If you say Shabbat Shalom to someone you came in with, and say Shabbat Shalom to someone you didn't come in with, say Shabbat Shalom to at least 3 people.
Shabbat Shalom.
And we're going to jump to, I told a joke before everybody came, we're jumping to page 263 to the Chatzi Kaddish, which means the half a Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, וימרו אמן, יהא שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Vaed.
265. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you, and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world.
In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth.
In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Oh, you're not going to do that.
Sorry. There you go.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed. Page 268. Does anybody in the back row want to help me with this prayer? You want to help? Just help. Come on. Max, I've got mic here. I need this one on, drum one on. You may be seated. Just help. And MJ, I'm going to need you too. Thank you. You'll see. I've got Andrew helping me with the Hebrew. I got MJ helping me with the English. Ready? Where are you? Good. ואהבת את אדוני בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet. I think that's the first time you're leading by yourself, aren't you? And this is the first time MJ is leading by himself. Stay here with us, please. MJ is going to lead us in the English at the bottom of the page. Take it slow. Can you hear him? Hold on. Yes or no? You can't hear. You got to be get closer to the microphone, a little bit louder. I'll help with you. Okay, I got you. Go. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gate. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. These guys are going to, each of them, celebrate becoming bar mitzvah this summer. Something cool to look forward to. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. We continue on page 269. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp, as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Page 271. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We're going to continue on 272 at the bottom of the page. We got a drum-centric song, the bottom of 272. You want to give us a rhythm? Yismechu, bottom. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat mekadesh shvi Shabbat kulam yisbe'u v'yitanu mituvecha Shabbat yismechu ומלאכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו ומלאכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת ישמחו ומלאכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. That's fun. Page 273, please rise for the Amidah, also known as the Tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasodim Tovim, ve'Koneh HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. I'm going to keep going in Hebrew. You could do the English if you want on 275, but I'm going to keep going in Hebrew. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממיץ ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei ha'kol. Atah kadosh, you are holy, and Shimcha kadosh, and your name is holy, and those who are kadoshim, holy, praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. You may be seated. We skip to the bottom of page 278. Thanks. That was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. Page 278, we can read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue on page 279 in the middle. Be gracious, Adonai, our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. O may our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. In the middle of page 280. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst and in the midst of our people in Zion. Blessed is Adonai, whose presence renews Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachzir shechinato letzion. We turn to page 281. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. At the bottom of page 281, O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'el lehodot. On page 282, Adam leads us in the Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael טסים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
We take a moment for silent prayers and meet back again on page 281. In the middle of page 285, would you read with me? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. This time in our service, our hearts and our prayers turn to those who are ill or recuperating, or need some extra strength. We turn to page 371. משברך אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את החולים. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. I invite you to call out names of people for whom you would like us to be adding our prayers to yours. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen. And we have come to add a special prayer to help protect our first responders. Mishabarach avotenu ve'imotenu. May the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom, protecting us, serving us, teaching us, or healing us in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they have been called to serve. Give them courage to succeed and strength to persevere. May they return home safely, and let us say, Amen. On page 377, Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'gohalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'gohalo. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And please release those hostages, God. I just wanted to say a brief thing. I'll let the president talk for a second. Because I came in here with two totally different messages than what I wound up with, because now it's Shabbat HaGadol, and I have to Shabbat HaGadol it, But today I wanted to talk about, I called this, it's not your time. It's not your time. This week is a time for me that's filled with lots of stress. Trying to get ready for Passover, taking out the stuff, not taking out the stuff, cleaning the cabinets, cleaning out everything. Getting ready for the Seder. We've got 90 people coming tomorrow, and it takes a lot to do that. Some people have, how many people do you have at your place? You have 40 in a house. Like, what? Oh, it's okay. We'll pretend it's 40. And then you'll feel really good when you only have 14 show up. All that extra food for us. No, just kidding. That's pretty big. That's okay. 14 it's big. So it's still hard. And so there's a lot that we do. And why do we do it? Why do we get ready? Why do we not get ready? Why do we ignore it altogether, or why do we do it? And what occurred to me this week is that it's not your time. And I don't want to sound like I'm preaching when I say it's God's time. That's not what I want to say. It is God's time, though. God gave us these holy days, and they mark seasons. They help us to figure out where we are in the universe, and it helps us mark time to have these special occasions. This one has been especially meaningful to me for so many reasons. I really love the idea that we are free. I hate the idea that we were slaves, that today we are slaves and tomorrow we get to be free. I love that. I love that we experience it every single year so that we learn to appreciate what that means. And I hope that as you experience it every time it comes around again, you see it in a new way. And I hope that you get filled with that spirit of freedom and what that means. For me, especially this year, it means that the time is not in my hands. It's not my time. My mom died less than 2 months ago. So every morning at 7 o'clock, I'm on this Zoom call Monday through Friday with Central Synagogue saying Kaddish for her in a minyan. I didn't get to do that. My dad died 20 years ago today. And that year, it was a Friday, and the next night was Passover. It was the Seder. I didn't remember in my whole life that ever happening before. I didn't remember having to scramble and lose a whole day because I try not to work on Shabbat. So how am I going to clean the house with one less day? And I was just about ready, and then Dad died. And I realized it's not my time. Like, stuff happens, and then all of a sudden you have to deal with it. I got home today. I left here at around 3:34, I think. And I still had errands to run before I got home, and I got home and there was no air conditioning. And the breaker kept tripping. So I'm not going to have air conditioning this weekend. It's okay. It's not my time. I don't have control over some of these things, and you learn to deal with the stuff you have to deal with. Something that's, I think just about everybody here knew my mom. So every year that we tried to do these Seders for her, the past few years when she couldn't come to this one, and we would go where she was and we'd have seders for her. But even before that, even when she was still at her house, even when we were bringing her seders, she was doing I don't know if you remember how she'd do all the cooking. She'd schlep all of these like chugga chugga choo choo kinds of things to bring all the food so that we could have the kosher for Passover food. And when we get to the end of the service, when it says, what's the last thing it says? Next year in Jerusalem, right? And she'd say, nah, I hope I'm not going to be here by next year. I don't know what you think. I'm not going to be here. She just felt like her time was meant not to be old. I don't know why. And she said it for years now. I'm not going to be here next year. And she was. And now she isn't. So time, I don't want to, get mushy about love the people you're with or whatever. Do what you need to do. Be who you need to be, because it's not your time. Figure out what it is that you have to do. But guess what? It is the president's time. Max, President Mike. That's yours.
I wanted to share something with you all that I read this week. It's entitled A Lemon on the Seder Plate. As we conclude the reading of Moror, tasting the bitterness of slavery, and alongside the traditional karotset, we introduce a new symbol on our Seder plate this year, a lemon. This bright yellow fruit, like the ribbons tied in remembrance, represents both hope and the sourness that fills our hearts as we think of the 59 hostages still held in Gaza. In sharp bitterness echoes the pain of their captivity, a powerful reminder of freedom still denied. This lemon, in addition to the moral and necrosis, is more than a symbol. It is a call to awareness and action. It urges us to weave their struggles into our ancient story of liberation. As it bite sharpens our resolve, may it kindle an unrelenting desire to see them safely return. May this emblem of captivity be a symbol of celebration at their release. Let us pause now for a moment of silence, sending our deepest prayers and hopes to the hostages and their families, longing for a Pesach when the sweetness of freedom overcomes the bitterness of sorrows. Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Jana will lead 9:45 a.m. Torah study and 11 a.m. Shabbat service tomorrow morning on Zoom. We did not have Havdalah and Minyan this week or next week. Passover begins tomorrow night. As you know, the beginning and end of Passover are holy days. Rabbi Jana will lead Zoom service 11 a.m. Sunday, April the 13th for the first day. The last day of Passover includes Yizkor service. We'll remember all of our loved ones who have died. There will be Yizkor as part of the Friday night service next week at B'nai Zion and Saturday, April 19th service. The last morning during the 9:45 a.m. Torah study, we will include discussions about Song of Songs. Begin counting the Omar this Saturday night, April the 13th. Red River Radio will have two more Passover programs this Wednesday at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Check the B'nai Zion or Red River Radio sites for more details about the programs. This week at BZ Mahjong and Pickleball will be Wednesday, April the 16th. The Holocaust Remember service is 3 p.m. Sunday, April the 27th at St. Paul's Church. We have a wonderful guest speaker who is a child of Holocaust survivor and author. B'nai Zion members should join us at the congregation annual meeting Sunday, May 4th. We do not have Red River Kehillah School this Sunday. You can now register for Camp High 2025. This year it will run for 1 week from July 7th to 11th. Donations were made to the B'nai Zion of the Sisterhood Flower Fund in memory of Artie Lawrence, 20th yahrzeit of Rabbi Jana and her family. And I just want to take a quick second to thank everybody who helped prepare for the Seder tomorrow night here at the temple. I know it takes a lot, and certainly appreciate and kudos to everybody. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Shabbat Shalom. All right, I'm going to pick on those people who came up and helped me read before, my 13 and unders, please. I need you to help me open up the ark. This is not a reading part. This is just an opening up the ark part. Ready? Come on up. Everyone else is turning to page it's 586 on the bottom. And please rise when the ark is open.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And we turn to page 591, 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
When the ark is closed, you may be seated. Thank you, guys. Our thoughts are now turned to remembering. We remember U.S. troops who have given their lives in the service of our country. We remember our first responders who have given their lives while protecting or saving others. We remember innocent victims of war, terror, and violence wherever it occurs. We remember those who have died recently in natural disasters. We take as our own those who have no one else to remember them. We honor the memories of those from our congregational and community family who have recently died. We honor the memory of the parents of congregants who have died within the past year. We remember Foxy Aaron and Sheila Lawrence. We remember congregants, family, and friends whose Yortzeit anniversaries were this past week. Melita K. Frankel, Isidore Friedman, Abram Ginsberg, Barbara C. Goodman, Jeanette Katz, Linda Kesselman Rogers, Lois Cooperman, Arnie Lawrence, Charlton E. Meyer Sr., Louis Ox, Nathan Pfeiffer, Harry Rosenzweig, Sally Sorkin, Bob Sussman, Molly Tech, Henry S. Weissman Jr., Doris Sussman Yates, and John Zuzak. May their memories always be for blessing. Zichronam Livracha. If it is your tradition to rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, please turn to page 598 and we rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chaye chon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yeheh Shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei Dukudsha B'richu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yeheh shalama rajba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn. And may we all be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And we say, Amen. Please sit down. I could use some help. Would you help me out for a sec? Yeah. It's not a talking part. I've got some things I wanted to hand out. I've got some song sheets for you. We may have to start off by giving one to every 2 people or something, if there are a couple already, because we have more people than I expected at the beginning. Sometimes it's nice to end the service on a happy note. So there's a website out there called Jubilong. And it's written from Jews who kind of grew up and know that they're Jewish, but they don't know what that exactly means, and they're trying to help. And they're fighting anti-Semitism. They have an awesome Seder that you can print offline from Jubilong. I've got the website at the bottom, the jubilong.com, and you can print it. I would love to squish these into my Seder tomorrow night, but I have the Seder that we're doing is a finely honed service that doesn't take too long. It's not too short, it's not too long. So I don't know if I can add these. So I'm going to add these today, and you're going to sing with me. The first one we're going to start with the top left that says, "Take us out of Egypt." And I think you can help with this. What? No, I don't think it's a good idea. Not parodies. It's sung to the tune of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Take us out of Egypt, free us from slavery, buy us some matzah in a bake. Sorry. Don't worry about flavor, give no thought to taste. Oh, it's rush, rush, rush to the Red Sea. If we don't cross, it's a shame, for it's 10 plagues down and you're out at the Pesach game. Okay, fun. How about the next one? Anybody in showbiz? The one on the top right says, "There's no Seder like our Seder, like no Seder I know. Everything about it is halachic, nothing that the Torah won't allow. Listen how we read the whole Haggadah. It's all in Hebrew, 'cause we know how. There's no Seder like our Seder. We tell a tale that is swell. Moses took the people out into the heat. They baked the matzah while on their feet. Now isn't that a story that just can't be beat? Let's go on with the show." Close? You recognized it, right? Oh, close? Don't laugh at me. Just kidding. How about this one? At the bottom of the page. "Roasted shank bone, hard-boiled egg, hard-boiled egg, karpas and charoset, bitter herbs. Do a round with me, okay? Try it. It's okay if we fake the words, don't worry. Roasted shank bone, hard-boiled egg, karpas and charoset, bitter herbs. Roasted shank bone, hard-boiled egg, karpas and charoset, bitter herbs. That was good.
Bitter herbs.
Nice. All right, last one. Here, let me take this one back, sorry. It's hard when there's too many voices on the microphones, I think, because the people online don't have these words. Sorry about that, everybody. On the back side, one more song. Cleaning and cooking and so many dishes. Out with the chametz, no pasta, no knishes. Filth that's gefiltered, horseradish that stings. These are a few of our Passover things. Matzah and karpas and chopped up charoset. Shank bones and kiddush and Yiddish neurosis. Tanta who kvetches and uncle who sings. These are a few of our Passover things. When the plagues strike, when the lice bite, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our Passover things, and then we don't feel so bad. Motzi and maror and trouble with pharaohs, famines and locusts and slaves with wheelbarrows, matzah balls floating and eggshells that cling. These are a few of our Passover things. When the plagues strike, when the lice bite, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our Passover things, and then we don't feel so bad. Please rise for our closing blessing. What do we do? Did I take it? I've got it. All right. Please rise as I bless you. Was that fun? A little bit of fun? Okay. Shabbat HaGadol. Don't forget it. Help me out. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you.
Can you hear its own?
Max, we have it? Did you hear it? You did? Okay, thank you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'choneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Can you hear its own?
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face always be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace and freedom.
Can you hear its own?
And a Zisen and a kosher Pesach and a good Shabbos, everybody.
This was wonderful.
I thought you'd have fun with that. That was fun. That was fun. You want to have a Shabbat Shalom zone? Max, did you turn off yet? Max? Yep, we need a Shabbat Shalom zone today, okay? Over here, please. Anybody who wants to say Shabbat Shalom to anybody who is watching from afar, you come on and you say Shabbat Shalom to them.
Shabbat Shalom tout le monde, la famille, Estelle, les enfants, je vous embrasse tous et bon Pessah.
Bon Pesach, et Buona Pesach. And anybody else have to say good, happy Passover, Shabbat Shalom to anybody? You can do that. Some people are watching with us. Hey, family. It's not our time. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Gentif.